puny, consider 15 feet. Now, could Adam have been the tallest man that ever walked the earth? I don't know, but if he wasn't the oldest man that ever walked the earth, he might not have been the tallest man that walked on the earth. That's speculation. But the genes are there for growth.
And you've also got all the evidence of those massive sites like Baalbek, you know, because I looked at that stuff a little bit too, and these ancient sites we've got big, huge stones, very well put together. And then other things come and built on top which were obviously inferior. And some sort of cataclysmic event which I can't work out. Put marks through them all, but they're just massive. We couldn't even do them today. We couldn't lift them today.
No. But the implications are that we as humans had to be taught by angels to do that. Fiona, can you read Genesis, Ellen White's quote on chapter 4, I think it is, just on the bottom of the page.
Chapter 4.
Genesis 6, verse 4, I think.
Great art inventions.
Yeah.
Which bit?
Great art.
There perished in the flood greater inventions of art and human skill than the Lord knows of today. The arts destroyed was more than the boasted arts of today. How did man gain his knowledge of how to devise? From the Lord, by studying the formation and habits of different animals. Every animal is a lesson book, and from the use they make of their bodies and the weapons provided them, men have learned to make apparatus for every kind of work. If men could only know how many arts have been lost to our world, they would not talk so fluently of the dark ages. But they have seen how God once worked through his human subjects, they would speak with less confidence of the arts of the antediluvian world. More was lost in the flood in many ways than men today know. Looking upon the world, God saw that the intellect he had given man was perverted, and the imagination of his heart was evil, and that continually.
Okay, we're going to stop there.
Yeah, what
So,
was that taken off?
Letter 24, 1899.
yeah. So, in the fact that people believe that there were giants on earth, we have clear indication from the spirit of prophecy that Adam was at least 2.5 times taller than the average man, and Eve came up to his shoulder. Is that?
Yeah.
That's Eve came up to his shoulder. So she would have been, 13 foot tall or 14 foot tall. So she was tall herself. So we would consider them giants. That's one explanation. The fact that we find artifacts and things that are beyond our understanding doesn't mean that an ET came down from space to teach us. And it also does not necessarily mean that angels came down to teach us. According to the spirit of prophecy, who taught us? God taught us. And what did we do with his knowledge? We perverted and corrupted it.
I found a quote too where it said something about God wasn't going to share after the flood, he wasn't going to share as much as he had before. That's somewhere I wrote that one. Is that in that part too?
Yeah.
Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 3 verse 11.
Seven?
11, sorry. Actually, start with verse 10 if somebody would like to.
Deuteronomy 3, was it?
Deuteronomy 3.
All the cities of the plain, all Gilead and all Bashan, as far as Selka and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. Indeed, his bedstead was an iron bedstead. Is it not in Rabbah of the people of Ammon? 9 cubits is its length, and 4 cubits is its width, according to the standard cubit.
Okay, here we have the word giant, and this word actually means giant. It is translated as giant, and then it gives us the specifications of how big a giant is. According to them, a giant was 9 cubits in length, because his bed was 9 cubits in length, and his bed was 4 cubits in width. So that would make him 9 plus a half, about 13.5 foot tall,
And 6 foot wide.
and about 6 foot wide. And that's their definition of a giant. Somebody that's 13.5 by 6 wide. Now that's a big man.
That's more there.
But it's smaller than Adam. So here we have definitions. There is, I should have said this earlier, but I'll just throw it in there. Just think about it, make of it what you like. There is one religion that teaches sex in heaven, and that is If you kill a lot of people, you'll get into heaven with all the Vestal virgins and you can have your life. And their writings say that Adam was 60 cubits tall. So again, this
Very small cubit.
very small cubit. All right. So here, once again, this is a moving away from our understanding of it.
I found another one quote that talked about that strange, there ended the strange race of men that were giants. That strange. I'm not sure she used the word strange. So I always think quite unusual.
Okay, let's go to Numbers 13.
They were into genetic engineering.
Before the floods, yeah. But we assumed all that was wiped out in the flood, according to what I liked it. But then Rob Steve was working on this whole bit of how do you get Nephilim after the flood without having a second incursion of angels coming down again. And then his theory is that obviously one of Noah's sons' wives had the blood in her, and that's how it carried through. That's where they're at.
Yep.
The last thing I saw. I'm
Yep.
like, okay, that's what it is.
That's their understanding that the genes came through the ark. Somebody, one of the wives in the ark was carrying the gene,
Giant gene.
and it continued. And from what we know about genetics, it's quite possible, very possible. Numbers 13, 32 and 33. Someone would like to read that for me?
And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come from the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Okay, so here we have another account. These men are of great stature. So they're big men, and the definition of big men, they come of as giants. They're the sons of Anak. And what's the Strong's for giant in this word?
It's a man of great stature.
It's bully, tyrant. It's still the same word. And that's giants, H5303. And we were, and the sides were like grasshoppers. So both times in verse 33. And there we saw the giants, H5303, which is tyrants, bullies, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. Again, it's the same reference, H5303. It's still bully. It's not talking about height.
But they did say they were men of great stature, so it's not
They
like
did.
linking the two together.
They did. So there's always a link there.
The fact that they said they're grasshoppers, we're talking about size.
We are, and this is a verse that a lot of people are using to show that, or to emphasise the fact that they were 450 cubits, 450 feet tall, because they saw themselves as grasshoppers among their feet.
I saw a picture somewhere online, and again, you don't know how true it is, but it was a picture of as if at an archaeological dig they uncovered a skeleton of a person lying down, and the actual head, a man was like standing beside the head and looked small compared to the head, and then was the limbs. So I think I remember. Oh, you've got the picture of it. Yeah, there we go. And I think I worked out, or if it was written there, that this person that had died might have been about 40 foot tall. And you know, if it was a freak thing because of their genetic modification, maybe there was a few people like that, and they would have been grasshoppers. You know, like the eyes of a man that big. So, but again, you can't.
No, you can't believe the photos. You can't believe all the photos that you see. They can make it look and say whatever they want it to make.
Yes, exactly.
So I'll probably just leave it there, and I'll just leave this for your study and your consideration. If our understanding of the Book of Enoch and his description of angels coming down and mating with humanity and Ethel and the giants growing, really throws a spanner into the fact that Adam and Eve ate from the fruit. Because the reason that we found ourselves in this position is because fallen angels went against God and came down to earth, and earth was a mess, and man cried out to God, finished it, and God sent the antediluvian flood. So that really takes it out of the realm of Adam and Eve.
And the gospel of the Lord Christ.
And the gospel, okay, and it is no longer, the war in heaven is no longer a war between the rejection of the Son of God. The war in heaven is actually a war against lust.
What's interesting too is I read in this same book, I had the Book of Enoch, because also in that Book of Enoch, he goes through and it's a description of all these different levels of heaven and what he saw, and it was really far-fetched. But there's also this book, Adam 1 and Adam 2.
Yes.
And in there, I saw some themes, and sex was a theme that seemed to be in those books as well, as if it was so bad and Adam was really struggling with it. But the fact that it was actually dealt on, it kind of, it was interesting. It was a theme, and that fits with this theme of the whole reason the Nephilims came is because of lust and sexuality.
And these 4 comments that I'm going to make are comments from people who actually believe in the Book of Enoch, and they actually believe in the Nephilim and everything we've discussed about. And I've talked about 3 of them, but I'll do it again. Three themes running through the Book of Enoch. It tells the Nephilim story, how angels became corrupt, how God cleansed the earth. The earth became corrupt due to the irresponsible deeds of the higher order of angels, the Watchers, who became incest with mortal women and mated with them. So how did the earth become corrupt? No man could actually say, well, look, it's got nothing to do with us. They corrupted us. And the whole thing just goes out the window. Now, I am quite happy to be instructed otherwise, but this is my study so far. This is the study that I've seen. I have read the Book of Enoch, chapter 1 through to chapter 10, and I think I've had enough. So unless somebody shows me something different, I will not go back into the Book of Enoch. The language just doesn't fit to my understanding of the way that the language is put together in the Bible. The fact that it's not in the Bible itself is a concern to me, if it's supposed to be so important. So it's the language, the themes.
It's not part of the usual apocrypha either, is it?
No. If we go to Genesis, when in Genesis chapter 1, what does God say when He creates? Let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Let's not put words into our mouths. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1.
There's one more thing that I pulled out of it too that's an interesting side track.
Yep.
Alright, we'll go for this. I'll say it in.
Let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herbs, yielding seeds, and fruits trees yielding fruit, after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. So what did God say about the herb and the trees? After its kind, and the seed, what's in itself? Let's continue. Let's go to the birds and the fish. 20. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind. So what does it mean, after their kind? What is a kind? What's our understanding of kind? Sorry?
They
Yep.
can't cross fertilise and produce anything viable.
Yep. And it's clear that this is what they wanted to say, because Strong's makes emphasis on species, same species. Now, are we the same species as angels?
No.
Are we sure about that?
Well, isn't it Hebrews?
Mm-hmm. We're a little bit lower than angels, okay? So that it's.
But even the definitions are telling you that these giants that came are huge. So if angels are huge, well, we're not like them. We're not talking about like Adam, who was 15 feet. You're talking about how many feet?
Some 180, some 400, some 4,000.
Yeah, it's just there's
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. So it's a species within species. You know, like a donkey and a horse. Can they reproduce? Yes. A cat, a lion, and a leopard. Can they reproduce? The felines. Yes, they can.
The offspring can't reproduce.
The offspring can't reproduce. Right? Can we reproduce with a monkey or an ape? No, totally different species. So that's one aspect of it. And the last thing I'd like to leave you with, and for your consideration, is were angels given a second chance in heaven?
Yes.
They were given a second chance in heaven. Huh?
That's why Christ came and died on this earth.
Okay. Humanity is given a second chance. Yes? Is there a difference between angels and humanity in the chances that they were given?
Yes.
Okay?
They were created by the same God.
Yeah. Who was the worst king that Israel ever had? Fiona? Who was the worst king that Israel ever had? And what was his son's name? Wasn't he a good king?
Yes.
He was the best king Israel ever had. So if God had have stopped at Manasseh and got rid of Manasseh, then his son and his line, and they cannot. And therefore, when they say, "I'm not accepting it," then they're not accepting it. There's no other issue. But a father can say, "No, I'm not accepting it," but his children can say, "Yes, I am." That's why he shows favour for generations. Okay, any questions? Did Jen?
Just one comment.
Sure.
I also found, I think it was Rob Skeever coming up to this, he used to have problems with all these genocides throughout the Bible, things being wiped out, and the flood and things. But see, he can rationalise it better now because he believes they were the ones carrying the genes, the giant that needs to be wiped out, you see. So when God says go and wipe them out, so it's just an interesting, for some of the stuff we've been discovering, another way that they're trying to come to terms with these problems in the Bible. But they're going down a different path. And I went, oh, that's good to know.
So is it bad gene that was okay to get rid of them?
Well, because they had the giant genetics in them and the angel and it wasn't ever supposed to happen, well then, God's trying to wipe them out. So I guess the flood was part of it, and then because some came through in their understanding, trying to say how come this giant's after the flood. And then when God tells the Israelites to wipe out this whole group, it's because they had that blood in them. That's how they're justifying it mentally.
So it's telling God is a terrible father.
Well, it's all right because
character.
he's trying to undo what should never have happened.
Yes,
I guess that's how they're trying to rationalise it.
Justify.
As long as
Why
I don't
didn't
have
God wipe them out at the flood? Why did that one on?
Why did he let Lucifer keep going? He was the worst one with that. He was the worst one.
This is where there's some of the
Sure,
thinking
and
now. So you just go, okay,
Yeah.
how can you shift from that to a different way of thinking?
I don't know.
So there are some, you see some of these people like terrible, terrible crimes on like death row and stuff like that, and their parents still, I still love you as a child, I don't love you for what you've done. So that means they're better than God then, because he says, oh, well, I won't go after that.
Look, it's an interesting study. I hope it was challenging. I hope if you find it interesting, go look it up for yourself and read it yourself. If you look at YouTube stuff, there's people who believe that Nephilim are underneath our cities waiting to come out. They're in chains, and then some of them are in Alaska, and they've got cities in Alaska ready to come out, and in the end of time to once again plague man and eat men up and all that type of stuff. That's what's out there.
So we don't know what they were doing before the flood, like nations and whatever. And we don't know what they're doing now. And there's that giant statue over in America. Isn't there with the giant, someone coming out on the beach and there's big head and hands, and I've seen it once and I remember it,
Sculpture.
Yeah, it's a sculpture.
Can I just say something in terms of whether it was possible for angels to come and have sexual relationship with humans? Well, I guess trying to get your answers from the Bible, where it says that we'll be like the angels near the marriage and giving in marriage, and procreation is supposed to be a result of marriage, then it's maybe not possible, well, if you just look at it from those things, for angels to even have sexual relationships with themselves or even with humans. So,
yeah. For what purpose?
yes,
I mean,
just pleasure.
humanity was given a purpose. You know, be fruitful and multiply. That's your purpose. But you know, we're not given a purpose for that. That's the angels' job. I mean, we know what angels' jobs are. What the angels' jobs are. What do they want to do? They're ministering spirits. That's what they delight in. That they delight being in the presence of God, in the presence of Christ, and going up to heaven and coming down, sending us messages, encouraging us. To me, they live in a totally different reality than we live. And this is our reality.
Surely there would be in our writings at the end of it, because we can control what's going to happen at the end. There is definitely going to come rise up again. Surely there'd be some
I'm not sure.
hint of it somewhere.
I don't know, not everything's spelled out, that's the tricky part.
But that's why I think the spirit of prophecy, because were there giants in the land? Yes, there was giants in the land. We find giant skeletons. Yes. What does Ellen White says? Well, Adam was at least 15 feet tall. Well, I can live with that. You know, that we found things that we cannot do now. It's questionable. How were they able to do this? Well, the spirit of prophecy tells us how they were able to do this. You know, so the spirit of prophecy is such a wonderful thing to lead us.
As in the days of Noah, so whatever they were doing pre-flood back then, you know, how far do we get to that point again now? Because of the technology explosion in the last 100 years. What I'm saying is a good
True, but the guide we're given is the condition of his heart is going to indicate.
My question is, have angels shrunk because an angel appeared to Mary and where else? Zechariah? And he never said, wasn't looking up to an angel.
No.
It was apparently the same size as himself.
And Daniel.
Yeah. There's all through the Bible, angels are the same size as us.
Anna and Elkanah, when they raised the child, there wasn't the angel appeared, and to her as well, and just a man.
Yep. And when the three angels went to see Abraham before Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, unless they disguised them, they shrunk their heights, or you know, they went in a tent, and they walked into the city, and they were able to walk inside someone's house because they had to close the doors behind them so people wouldn't get them. So all that is open. Yeah. If you're looking for a conspiracy theory, I think you'll always find one. And I'm still, like everything, I'm always open to studying, but this is my study so far. I can't see what they're trying to get to.
Christ and two angels appeared to Abraham, and he thought, I am. And Sodom, and what involved in because I thought, I am.
When angels just appear to men, take on a form like a man, to appear just in the same size, just to make sure that even though they might be bigger than they appear in the same size as the current race at that time. So that they're not scary.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Ellen White doesn't seem to make any comment on how tall and the angels are. When she does make comment about angels, she says they're angels of mighty strength. That's the comment. Solid. What was the term? Excelling in strength. That's her comment on angels that are different, and they're excelling in strength.
The character is more important
Absolutely.
than the stature or whatever. Speaking of size, I saw briefly something on YouTube not that long ago about a guy, I think he's living somewhere in America, but he was from a European country who came to America with his mother to get medical help because he has a tumour inside his brain around the pituitary level, and they were only able to operate to get part of it out and not all of it, and so his body is continuing to produce growth hormone. So he's in his 20s now, and he's already 9 foot tall, and he's continuing to grow. And so it's something to just do with the growth hormone. So there's every bit of potential there for humans to be 15 feet if given enough growth hormone, I guess.
Yeah.
They will take up part of the genetics. The things, the tiger and the lion, if they cross a certain way, it's the male one and the female other that's got this inhibitor. It tells that when it's got to a certain size, stop growing.
Yeah.
So if they cross it the other way, which the two of the sex don't have it, it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and they're massive. Yeah. So, you know, whether they
It's all-
DNA
It's all in the genes. God created it with all the genes, so it's all in there. And it's all understandable and feasible if we really research it in the way God's asked us to.
We don't know what's going to happen really. We just got to see what unfolds.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at, but I'm really reluctant to think that Nephilims are going to come out of the sewage, the storm waters, and take over cities and come. Yeah, but a lot of stuff we just don't know. We just don't know.
There's a lot of things that happen on this earth that we don't know much about at all. For instance, look at the dinosaurs, how big were they? And just recently they found out caves in Western Australia. And we've got another ball. And wombats, twice or more bigger than what we've got today. Kangaroos,
Yep.
twice as tall as what we've got today.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely.
And things have gone on in the past that we don't know.
No.
And it's after the fact.
Yeah, but there's always the other side to the coin. You know? There's in the Smithsonian, I think they had this. They were hiding this what they thought was a femur of a man, and it was as tall as one guy. And then they found that what they said is the ancestor to the elephant, and it had exactly the same femur. And they said, "Oh, well, that's not a man. It actually fits into the elephant. We'll change that now." So you know, as things pop up, you'll get to see different things.
I had the privilege to go to the museum many years ago, and I was able to see some linographs that had been taken of Aboriginals way back before and when the missionaries came in, and they were strapping people. They were not the people that we look at now. They were big, solid, muscular men. The women stood equal with them, dressed in the crinolines to here and they're bare feet and outside of Humphrey Bark. Okay. But the men were solid, well-built, well-muscled people.
7 foot 6 tall, mate.
What was that?
7 foot 6 tall. There's a park up on the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
Goes all about.
They're nothing like what we see now, which just tells you how depleted and weak and diminished the stature has become for whatever reason. And we're the same. And I
And
just,
they were also men of stature, they were men of ability. One of them actually took the British government to court and made his case. And after he made his case, the jailer or some of the police tried to get him in jail. But he actually made his case in court. Took the British government to court. And then turned down and poisoned their waterholes. There's a good park on the Blue Mountains. If you ever get there and see it.
I missed the first bit of that. Were they the Aboriginals?
yeah, just and it was just a whole series of pencil drawings and a lot of that stuff. And it was that these men were just so well built. The women were as well. They were equal to them.
There was 2 distinct places that we were in the Hilltown area years ago. When they discovered gold about the Cooktown, they discovered there was 2 races of Aboriginal and now and then there was a smaller race that was much blacker. And they said it ended up about
Shall we close? In case somebody needs to go, they can close. They can go, and those who would like to talk can continue to talk. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, once again we thank you for your grace and mercy towards us. We thank you for the spirit of prophecy, that through the spirit of prophecy, Lord, you continue to open up our eyes to things that were not specified, but you saw fit to show it to us so we could have some of these answers. Lord, the more we read, the more we look at things, the more we realise we don't have the answers, and we are totally dependent on you, totally dependent on your guidance, on your grace and your mercy. And Lord, I thank you for being with us today. I pray that we have brought glory to your name, Lord, in knowing that you love us and that you have done everything possible to save us. And that it was us who were wayward. It's me, Lord, who is a sinner. It's not someone who has coaxed me into being one. It's who I am, Lord, and I pray for your forgiveness, Lord, and I pray for your grace as we all pray, Lord, that you hug us, that you take us, and you will take us to heaven to live with you. We thank you for your grace and mercy, and we thank you for our guiding angels, our guardian angels beside us, and we thank you for their devotion and their friendship and their love towards us that comes from you. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Goodbye.